Hi, thank you for joining me today. Dietitian nutritionist Emilia Subith, helping you lose weight and improve your gastrointestinal function. So today I'm talking about intermittent fasting or time restrictive eating, whichever you want to call it. Maybe 90% of the patients that I see for weight loss at one point had asked me, should I be fasting? Is that good for me? Will it decrease my metabolic rate? Will it decrease my metabolism? They're not sure what to do. I'm here to help you clear the confusion and answer any questions that you might have, so please comment below. Number one, when you wake up and eat, maybe starting at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and then the last thing you put in your mouth is by midnight, and throughout the day you have consumed enormous amount of small meals throughout the day, or it doesn't matter, the window of time that you've consumed food is quite long. This is not a healthy way of eating because your body did not get a chance to rest and digest. So when you stop eating, and it has been a couple of hours that you haven't been eating, your liver starts to detoxify all the nutrients that you have consumed. So the liver goes into a completely different mode. It does its own detoxification processes while you sleep. So while you sleep, the liver is very busy doing its job to clear the toxins, putting things away there where they belong. So the liver is like the person at the receiving deck. It gets all kinds of deliveries throughout the day. This is the food that you consume, and then it puts it away, and then at night it does its final organization and putting certain nutrients where they belong, and it clears the debris and the waste that you don't need. When you eat in a very long window of time, you're actually interrupting that process, so the liver really doesn't get a chance to do its detoxification job at night. So unfortunately, this is not good for your overall detoxification processes, and some of the debris and some of the things may stay behind in the liver and not get cleared out. These could be toxins, these could be some fats. You have heard of the term fatty liver. So when someone consumes a large amount of certain toxins, or very high carbohydrate diet, or diet that is high in high fructose corn syrup or fructose in general, the liver is very busy to metabolize those nutrients and put them away. It majority of the time is going to try to convert the excessive fructose that has nowhere to go into fats, fatty acids, and before they turn into fatty acids, they are just simply triglycerides, and some of that fat may remain there within the liver. This is why we call fatty liver. There is about 80% increase in non-alcoholic fatty liver disease in the US, and it is mostly associated with obesity. So when you allow your liver to rest and digest and detoxify at night, this is helping you in the long run, not only to detoxify from toxins and to put some nutrients away where they belong, but it also helps clear out that fatty deposits from the liver. So if you fast overnight, there might be some beneficial effect into detoxifying and clarifying your liver. Now let's talk about fasting in general. Why is it helpful? When you eat dinner around 7 o'clock, maybe around the 10th hour of fasting while you're sleeping, your carbohydrate stores are completely exhausted. These stores mostly come from the liver and the muscle. There is energy stored in the form of glycogen. So glycogen is storage of carbohydrates or sugar or glucose, whichever you want to call it, and they are there to help you fast for some time. However, they do have a limit, and the limit for most people is around 10 hours. After the 10th hour of you fasting and not obtaining any carbohydrates or other nutrients, the body has to get carbohydrates, glucose from somewhere. So what it does, the liver starts a process called gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis is when you start making carbohydrates from other sources. What are those sources? Those sources are from within your own body. Those could be fatty acids released from adipocytes or from your fat cells. Those could be coming from, unfortunately, skeletal muscle, so from amino acids released from your own skeletal muscle pool. So your body will do whatever it takes to keep you alive. However, if you decide to exercise in the morning, and if you decide to go for a run on an empty stomach, your body has to supply that energy from somewhere. And that might come from proteins, it might come from fats. So that's why fasted cardio is good. If you don't exercise though, if you continue to fast, it's going to be beneficial for you to clear out some fats and actually lose weight, because your body has to get the energy from somewhere. So you do dip into your fat stores. If you are someone that has been intermittently fasting for some time, you will become quite metabolically flexible. So I'd like to introduce this term to you and help you understand what metabolic flexibility actually is. Metabolic flexibility is your ability to switch from one substrate of energy utilization to another. For example, when you are in a fat state, you're mostly burning carbohydrates. When you're in a fasted state, you are mostly going to burn fats for energy. Fats, some of these fats might be converted into carbohydrates for energy, but primarily the energy might be coming from carbohydrates converted into energy, or from fats, ketone bodies. So the more metabolically flexible you are, the healthier you are. So someone that has very high metabolic flexibility, with very easily and very quickly will switch from one substrate to another. So you will probably not feel fatigue. You will continue to exercise on a fasted state, don't feel tired, or you may be able to go through longer periods of not consuming any food without any issue. There are some patients that will tell me, oh, I cannot skip breakfast. I will be nauseous, I'll be hungry, I'll be fatigued. This is a patient that has very low metabolic flexibility. And that patient needs to build to being more metabolically flexible by increasing slowly the window of time of fasting and closing the window of time that they are actually eating. So what is the perfect time of eating, and what is the perfect eating window? If you are someone that eats in a 12-hour window, start decreasing that and closing that window to 11 hours and 15 minutes, and then continue until that eating window goes down to 6 or maybe 8 hours. That is a very healthy eating window. 8 hours is great. If you can do 6, even better. So your body has to get the energy from somewhere, and it's going to be compelled, it's going to be forced to break down some of your own body tissues. And this is how intermittent fasting or time restricted eating can help you lose weight, because the energy substrate has to come from within you. And yes, intermittent fasting does help with weight loss. Intermittent fasting also helps with a condition called insulin resistance. When you fast over a long period of time, your cells become more insulin sensitive. So for the diabetic patients out there, if you are not, and I emphasize again, if you're not on any blood sugar lowering medications, but you're in this early stages of developing diabetes, or maybe you're pre-diabetic, but you're not on any medications, you can help reverse that condition by intermittent fasting. I can't talk about intermittent fasting without talking about cancer. For the ones that know me better, I am certified in oncology nutrition by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, And I understand cancer. I see a lot of cancer patients. There are patients that see me that have high risk for cancer. Maybe they have some gene mutations. There are patients that see me that are into the treatments, or there are patients that have been completing their treatments, or they are post-cancer survivors years after, and they ask me about intermittent fasting. Is it appropriate? Is it good for them? Absolutely, absolutely. If you're someone that is trying to prevent cancer, there's one very important concept that I want you to understand. Cancer cells are known to prefer carbohydrates, glucose, sugar, whichever you want to call it. When cancer cells are left with minimal to no carbohydrate supply, they tend to die, so they don't thrive. So while you are into this fasted state, and fats are predominantly used for energy, there's more ketone bodies in the bloodstream, a lot of those cancer cells will die off, they'll be sloshed off. For patients that are going through treatments, there are some studies that are saying that while you are in chemotherapy, the chemotherapy might be more effective if you are in a fasted state and if you're intermittently fasted. However, very, very big alert. Do not do that. Fast while you're going through chemotherapy unless you have the approval of your dietitian or your oncologist, because this is not appropriate for everyone. If you are frail, if you're malnourished, this is not for you. So there is huge place for cancer prevention and intermittent fasting, and if you'd like to take a look at that, feel free to research it. The literature is there. If you're someone that is a cancer survivor and you're fearful from reoccurrence, again, intermittent fasting is good for you. If you're going through treatments, then consult with your provider and make sure that intermittent fasting is appropriate for you while you're going through treatments. To summarize, my friends, intermittent fasting, time-restricted eating is actually a good natural way of feeding your body, and it is how we should all eat. We are not meant to eat around the clock 12-14 hours a day. We are meant to eat in a smaller window of time to allow our body to detoxify, clear off abnormal cells, repair, digest, and detoxify. Follow me for more tips of how to lose weight and improve your gastrointestinal function.